someone asked me about, were you doing any shows? I go, we don't do shows anymore. Because first of all, like, how it shows up. Oh, so.
You ready?
That's what. Okay.
Call the order of the Palm Springs Public Arts Commission meeting on Thursday, June 6, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. Jay, can you call roll call, please?
Commissioner Burns,
Present.
Commissioner Silvera,
Present.
Commissioner Ramirez is not present. Commissioner Favreau, not present. Vice Chair Newkirk here. Chair Armstrong
Here.
We have quorum.
Excellent. Would someone like to make a motion for acceptance of the agenda?
Make a motion to acceptance of the agenda on June 6th.
Okay.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Public comments. This time has been set aside for members of the public to address the Public Arts Commission on items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission, and agenda items if the member of the public cannot be present later in the meeting at the time the item is heard by the commission. Additionally, members of the public may address the commission on each item listed on the posted agenda at the time each item is heard. Although the Public Arts Commission values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, it generally cannot take any action on items not listed on the posted agenda. 3 minutes are assigned for each speaker. Jay, are there any public comments?
I've received no comment cards unless anyone from the audience at this time wants to make a public comment. And we have none.
Remarks from the chair. We found out some unfortunate news earlier this week that Richard Wyatt, the artist behind the mural at the James O. Jesse Center, passed away.
Wow.
He lost his battle to cancer. So moving forward, as you know, we were waiting from a recommendation from him on artists to repair the mural. And we do not have that list. So moving forward, what we're going to have to do is the project is challenged because it's jointly owned by the artist and the city of Palm Springs. So Jay will be sending condolences on behalf of the city, and at an appropriate time, we will then negotiate with his estate to get permission to move forward with repairing the mural. So until we have anything in writing from his estate, we can't do anything to that point.
Okay.
After we get that in writing, we will then secure repair muralists, and we will do that through procurement. And procurement will then do a call for artists. They will do it, and they will handle the collation and the assessment of those people. They will then present them to the Arts Commission. If there's any that we dislike, we can veto. And then we will present 3 finalists to the estate, and then they can choose the one that they think best represents his legacy.
Oh, their approval is.
Yes, they would. And now, as part of the negotiation, they may say, it's up to you. We don't know that yet.
Okay.
There are some artists that I think would be completely solid to do it moving forward, but we will then just send them to procurement so that they're all in the same place at one time, and that will be handled that. Unfortunately, because the agreement was not updated, this will take some time. You know, this will be a 6 month to a year process to get this done dealing with his estate. And so that's the unfortunate part. And those are all my remarks. I've got other things, but I will address them on the specific items before we discuss them.
Thank you. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to everyone here. This is my last meeting as a member of the Palm Springs Public Arts Commission. My term is ending. When I joined the commission 3 years ago, I was really excited about the opportunity to play a part in advancing public art in Palm Springs, and I really enjoyed my time doing that. Shortly after I joined the commission, I started a new full-time job that ended up really limiting my availability in terms of the time I was able to commit to it. But I did think it was important that I finish my term, and I'm really glad that I did that. So thank you, Gary, for your leadership especially this past year. Thank you to all my fellow commissioners, and really big thank you to Jay and everyone at City Hall for all the time and energy you put into advancing public art. Thank you.
Approved limits, none, public hearing, none. Items for discussion and approval. First item, consider Old Las Palmas Neighborhood Organization request for funding for Creature Alley. This is a continuation of the Red Dragon project that we did. If you recall, that started with a $5,000 community grant. And then the community paid for the balance of it. They then donated the work to the Public Arts Collection. So it is now part of our collection with the requirement that it always stay in place in Old Las Palmas on the median there. And who do we have representing the Old Las Palmas Neighborhood Association organization? Sorry.
Yes, thank you. First of all, thank you for having us here tonight. It's a pleasure to see the folks, the familiar faces I know. Did you all get a copy of the proposal that I
Yes.
sent out to Jay and he sent over?
Okay, and could you speak your name for the record, please?
My name is John Williams, and I'm a board member of the Old Las Palmas Neighborhood Organization, and I'm also part of the beautification committee. In the, I'm sorry. In the presentation, we wanted to start a little bit, I don't know if you had these first
I
pages.
just have the images.
Okay. We wanted to start a little bit, and we talked about the Old Las Palmas Neighborhood Organization, which is one of the oldest neighborhood organizations in the city. It actually predated the 2005 neighborhood ordinance that created neighborhoods. And we think that we're probably one of the most involved. We have 257 homes in our neighborhood, and 166 of those are paid members. That's 65%. And we have spring and fall meetings, we have pet walks, we have street fairs, we have home tours. And in the spring and fall, we get over 100 people that come to our meetings. So we feel like that we have a pulse of what the community is looking for. We have landscape medians in terms of beautification projects. We've done West Chino Drive, Mountain View, Via Las Palmas, other smaller medians in the area. You may have seen our historic markers that we have around the city. We have 6 in total. Around our neighborhood. And it's interesting, I was on a tour, historic tour one time, and I asked the guy, how old are those markers? And he says, oh, they're original from 1935. Well, they're not. We built them about 6 years ago. And we're currently putting new topper signs throughout our neighborhood, which you may have seen. We had a desire for some significant art in our neighborhood, and we talked to a number of artists. And we settled on DeLoss Veneral, who's here tonight. And I'm sure you're familiar with his work. He did, of course, Jungle Red over in Warm Sands. He did The Seeker in Palm Desert along the median there. There's a piece of his work in front of Dr. Wilgrim's office on North Palm Canyon that you're probably familiar with. And our first thought was to put some art on the Via Las Palmas median, but DeLoss suggested the West Chino because it's a long median, and he floated the idea of a Creature Alley, which we had talked about. And that median is about a quarter mile long. So we were impressed with what he presented to us, and we wanted to move forward, but we wanted to have the buy-in of our neighbors. So at our spring meeting in April of 2023, last year, we asked DeLoss to develop a prototype of the chosen Red Dragon sculpture that we liked. Some of you were at that meeting. We had over 100 neighbors attend, and the great majority of those did very much like the sculpture. And DeLoss was at the meeting and met many of our neighbors. And we had $20,000 from our home tour that we could help fund that with. And you graciously gave us another $5,000. The cost of this was $25,000, as you know. So we're very pleased with that, and we thank you for that very much. However, that is the first of 5 pieces that DeLoss has recommended to create what we call Creature Alley. The other 4 up in front of you there, Prince on the left, Love Bunny, which is next, and Griffin. And if you don't know what a griffin is, it's a mythical bird with the head of an eagle and the body and tail of a lion. And then Blue Belly Crab is the 4th one. So With that in mind, we wanted to engage our neighbors in selecting the next sculpture or the next one that we thought they would approve of, which would go in. So fortunately, we had a street fair this spring, March 9th, and we called it Cheers on Chino. We took over the parking lot of Temple Isaiah and we had all our neighbors invited, and I think maybe some of you were there as well. And we put these out and we literally asked people what their opinion was, and we took votes. We had them write it down. And Prince was far and away the winner. That is the one that everyone liked the best, the one on the left. And the winner is Prince. So we decided to rethink the positioning of these. We had felt we would stretch them all the way along the median. But since we think they really should be more public rather than specific to the neighborhood, we wanted to move them closer to Palm Canyon. So the plan now, if you can read this, none of us is an architect, but you see Palm Canyon Drive and you see Bellardo, and you know where Red Dragon is. So the next two, we would like to put in that first section of the median. And you know, I can just imagine people sitting at Chicken Ranch and seeing those and thinking, my, what is that? And very engaging, and we're hoping it'll be Facebook postings and Instagram and all of that. And we think it will. We think it will. We have a fixed price from Delos for the future sculptures. It's a $25,000 for each one, and that includes creation and tax and transportation and installation. So there's no surprises there. We do not and don't feel comfortable spending membership dues on these because members pay dues we have our events, and we are having a home tour next year. We hope, but we don't know that. So we're asking the commission if they could help us do the next two with a contribution of $50,000 for the two of them. And that would be Prince, which you see there. And the third one, which we have not yet selected, but again, going back to our method, we have a party coming up, a fall meeting and party on the 7th of November, 2 days after the election. That should be interesting. And it's going to be at the Dinah Shore Leonardo DiCaprio house. So we think we'll get a very big turnout. And that's when we would choose number 3. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Has everybody seen Red Dragon or Red Dragon? Okay.
You all seen it? Well, I would also like to have Delos come up and say a few words, and you may have questions for the artist if that's okay.
Yeah, you got about 2 minutes.
Okay.
I can do 2 minutes. And you want me to now say who I am? Please. I'm Delos Van Earl, and I'm the proposed artist for this commission. Everything, John's did such a nice job. Everybody, the city and the Old Los Palmas, everybody's been just wonderful to work with. This has been one of my nicest art experiences I think I've ever had. And the idea about having them down the road, what I originally talked to John and Pat and Dan about was having a creative continuity going down the street. So if you have one piece, then it's just, there's a piece of sculpture, it's red, and you drive on. But if you have one and there's another one that's about the same size and it relates, and then you have another one and it relates, it starts to create a dialogue. And then as they look at them, they go, okay, what's that supposed to be? And then if they read it, it says Red Dragon. Well, of course, it's not it's only a red dragon if you want to believe it's a red dragon. Then the shapes are created out of line drawings and then made into the maquettes and then enlarged, but they're not supposed to be exactly something specific. They're open to the imagination. I put a title on them so you have an entry into them, so you can say, well, it doesn't look like a dragon to me. It looks like an anteater or a boat anchor. So but having them interact with the idea when I was trying to do a proposal, when they wanted to work down the median, was and keeping it in a price range too, and a viability was to build individual pieces as we could do them, time allotted, and create this dialogue. And this body of work, which I think I started about working on some of these pieces about 2017 or so. They're fun and whimsical. Most of my career, I've maybe taken myself a lot more seriously, and this was really a nice break for me. I think they're very Palm Springs. It's a perfect place so when they approached me, I was very excited about getting to do something that would interact with the community and interact with the town and the modernism and all the events that are center around that here in the city. Jungle Red's just been an icon. People who don't know me know that, I can say, oh, well, I did that piece. So, and that's coming up almost 20 years old. So that's been, and that was a really nice experience and really nice of the city to participate in. So if you have questions, I'm happy to.
Thanks. I do have one quick question. Should I assume that it's the same material and roughly the same height?
Yeah, they're all 10 feet high, 6 feet wide, and 4 to 5 feet wide, and they're all made out of steel, and they're primed and painted with sign painter's enamel, which is about the best thing that you can come up with to hold up with the heat and the sun and
Okay.
everything.
And then I just have a comment for the community. I appreciate that you're moving them up towards Palm Canyon where more people can enjoy them. And maybe as opposed, and I'm just throwing this out as a concept or as an idea, but maybe the future ones could be used to as entrances into that neighborhood versus down one corridor, just as an option, just because that way more people can view them. Just
Carlos, any questions, comments?
I don't, thank you.
I congratulate the community and the artist, because when I see some of the other artwork in the city that is being donated to us and then is part of our current collection, the fact that you're able to come across something that has such impact for $25,000, I think is impressive.
Well, thank you. I've
Yeah.
been told that I wasn't charging enough, and I said, I'm charging. No, I know, that's. And I
I'm
said-
comfortable with the number.
I look at him, I go,
Yeah.
it's not always about the money. I said, I owe a lot, and I'll be real honest. The best decision in my career I ever made was I moved to the desert down here from Northern California in '85. And the valley has been so good to me. I mean, I'm known as this local artist, but I've had a national career and I've had success way beyond my imagination. And now I'm working mainly only out of my studio and dealing with people that I met, and I'm only doing, I'm not chasing the gallery thing or anything anymore. And it's just I feel very, very privileged to have the opportunities I have here. So some of it goes back to the city, and it'll be out there and it'll be part of me, and it'll be something that's given back. The interaction, that was why I was so wanted that interaction. Moving it up, I think will be, like you said, next to the chicken place. It will be a place where you go out and get your picture taken. And we get notices when people post pictures of them with Jungle Red. We get pictures all the time from people from all over the world. And that's a real rewarding, for me. So.
So this whole process, sort of exemplifies two of the things I've been trying to do with the commission since I've been on it. And one is, and they've heard me say this, but I really want to define Palm Springs as a cultural incubator. And the fact that people come here to be inspired. They may not stay here and create, but they will find something that inspires them and then go off back home and create. And they come here to recharge their creative energies. And with the Pillars installation that we did down Tockwoods, 4 of the 6 artists were from the Palm Springs area.
Oh, good.
And so that's great, because what it does is it funds the creative community here, and they buy their resources here and their manufacturers here. So the money stays in the community, which is great. And the other thing I've been talking about lately is public art is an invitation. Public art says, come here, there's something interesting here. There's something that demands your attention. And as Tom was saying, I like the fact that you're moving these up because Red Dragon was great, but you do sort of feel like it's guarding this community right there. And by bringing it down, you're creating an invitation for people to follow along these, hidden creatures in the
Yeah.
forest, if you will.
Yeah, red dragon is a little bit of an aggressive form.
Yeah, but that's okay. So I guess my question is, do we take a vote on this, Jay, if we want to fund that $50,000?
You can vote, you can discuss, ponder. Ponder, if you like, but yes.
Okay.
That's the request from the community.
Okay. Any other comments?
No, I think especially if it's going to be closer to Palm Canyon.
Yeah.
More visibility, yeah,
And that median is city property?
Fairly certain it is, yes.
Okay. And we don't need permission from the retailers right across the street for anything?
It's good to check with them, see if there's any opposition to it.
Yeah.
Maybe they want it to be a chicken.
I don't know, I think,
All we have to do is change the title.
yeah.
I don't think people got, so the people got that the prince it's not a prince, it's a fraud.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
so-
Love Bunny might be appropriate next year.
Yeah.
Be a chicken. It looks like a parrot.
Well, or the yellow one, it's yellow and it's got a beak.
Yeah.
Then-
Okay. Barrett, since you originally negotiated this project,
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we approve $50,000 for the Old Las Palmas Neighborhood Organization to support 2 sculptures for Creature Alley.
Sorry, my suggestion, sorry, I don't mean to upset anybody, but I'd rather just do one for right now. Because we don't know what the second one is gonna be, and we're approving one that the community has already approved, so I would feel better approving one.
well, let me ask the Community Association, would you allow the commission to pick the third one?
Yeah, that'd be good.
If we could vote for it now?
Yeah, they could vote for it.
If you could vote for it now, we would do that. I will tell you that the one that came in after Prince in the voting, was Blue Belly Crab over there. And, that as a matter, but, we have engaged the community and, but we would certainly look to you, you guys are the experts, whichever one you think is best.
I would prefer that we let the community decide the third one.
I
think so.
I think we need to.
But I would ask you to think about approving the full 50,000 if you could today. And we will have the community then pick the third one. And it's the same price, but we would certainly, I think, look to them to do it, but there is a matter of creating them simultaneously and that's, as you said, Phyllis, that would be helpful to you.
Yeah, it would be helpful. for me.
And the reality is, we're probably not gonna get these done until the fall, but if we could get the approval today, we could actually start the process. So that would be helpful.
If we. And this is up to you guys, but if I can get the approval and I can start working on. Maybe we can get you to move up the voting earlier.
You could do
If
that.
I can work on both of them, I could have both of them done by the end of this year. But if we're only gonna do one and then they're gonna vote on it in November and then we gotta get back and then we have to come back and get more money, then we're talking about not having the second one done till next spring.
And I think there's a synergy to having
So-
2 more to go with Red Dragon, then you've really got a collection.
And if I'm doing 2 at once, I can go out and dig 2 holes and have the crane show up once and the concrete mixer show up once and I can install both at the same time.
Tom?
I think the third one is one of the 4 pieces there, and they're all great. I don't mind. I mean, I think they're all great.
So,
Keep in mind, this is going to council.
Hmm.
And council will want specifics. So if we know the first one is gonna be the frog, Prince. We probably should say which one is the second one for council to approve the money.
okay,
Let's ask the artist what he thinks.
I would be thrilled with blueberry, bluebelly crab, it's my favorite, so that's kind of easy, but I came from crab country, so,
Well, you're in crab country now too.
so. And, uh, so,
Okay,
And so just to back up, just so I'm clear, if we're doing two, it is in that same median. And the locations have been approved and that's all cool. I mean, that's with the city.
So the process will be that city property, there will need to be an encroachment permit done. As was done before.
Yeah.
And then the paperwork will be done where the community donates the artwork to the city. That will all be approved by council at the same meeting as we did the last one last year, where they approved the donation of the gift.
So
Because
the-
again, our role is to recommend approval.
So can we do that with, if we're gonna do two, can we do that with? The condition that the city does approve?
Yeah.
That the installation and everything, so that we're not just tying up 50 grand and then, and then wrestling in our internal process to get this thing approved.
So the process will be that theoretically, if we make the recommendation and acceptance and it's the Prince and the Crab.
is that okay with you guys? Okay,
That was number two. So
Okay,
that makes
yeah.
sense. So if it was Prince and the Crab. There will then be a staff report written up. And through that staff report that they will determine.
Got it.
There's legality to put this here, and here is the permit that. Mr. DeLusse will have to do the encroachment permit, as did in the past, or whoever did it. And that's the whole process that happens.
cool.
So the money will not be sitting in limbo.
Got it.
But I will be addressing that later on
Okay,
in
good.
another agenda item
All right.
about limbo money.
I probably should say that. I mean, depending on when all this gets done and I get a check, I can get it done in like a 6-month period.
Yeah.
The two of them.
So assuming this is approved tonight, and then assuming it goes to council, the soonest it will be in front of them would be. September,
Oh, geez, okay.
well, they're
Well, no,
shut down in August,
Oh,
and the staff report needs to be written.
okay. All right.
So the soonest it would be is September, Jay, you think?
September's.
Yeah.
Okay, well, then
Yeah.
that takes that off the table.
So how
I mean,
long would it take for you to then do installation?
Well, I can't have them built.
No, I understood.
Oh, well, yeah, I would say 6 months, I can do the two and
Okay.
have them installed.
Okay, so that would
Bill,
be,
I get the check, I can build them and install them and everything in 6
Yeah.
months.
so theoretically it'd be March.
I'm fine with whatever you come up with.
Yeah.
Just happy to be here, grateful. for the
Obviously, we want to
opportunity.
tighten as much as possible. We just like to be very
Yeah.
clear on the process.
Yeah, well, I went through it last time.
Yeah.
It's
But it
one
was pretty
one
easy.
lessons I was supposed to learn this time around with patience, which I
So I made the motion. Should I
Make the motion,
restate it? I
yes.
don't think it's changed.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve $50,000 for the Old Las Palmas Neighborhood Organization for two sculptures.
Specify them.
The Prince and
Crab,
Crab.
Blue belly.
sculptures,
Blue belly.
Blue belly crab, for Creature Alley.
Second,
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm excited. This will be really great.
Would it be helpful, because all of us know some of the council people, if we put a bug in their ear and see if we might move forward?
They can't do a thing until they get the staff report.
Just asking.
Yeah, and as I said, unfortunately, as I mentioned in my emails to you, this is the end of the calendar or the budget term. So they got all this budget stuff they're working on, and then it's shut down in August, so honestly, the soonest
Well-
we'll get to them is September.
It's kind of nice because it's gonna get really hot.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and welding and grinding in this heat is not.
Thank
the best
Thank you,
job.
guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Next up, consider Pride Monument proposal. Al, you're up. I want to give a caveat on this one. I've addressed this to the Arts Commission probably for the past year and a half. I think is when former Chair Ann Sheffer introduced me to Al Jones about this assignment. And I've been involved with this purely from a guidance level. Just helping Al shepherd through the process.
Right.
And how to move things along and how to even do a solicitation of art. So anytime there was a discussion of the actual art or the artist or the selection, I would step aside and I did not want to get involved with that. I don't think I've even publicly stated if I like the artwork or not.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, so I just want to make that clear that, I was not involved in any of that decision making. And this is a completely different project than the Ace Memorial. Even though people keep confusing the two.
They do, and we repeatedly say we have no relationship whatsoever,
Yeah.
which maybe the presentation will help out.
So, yeah, Al,
Okay,
you promised me you could get this done in 5 minutes.
I've got the timer here set and I'm starting, I'm giving myself 8. Yes, I'm Al Jones. I'm president of the Palm Springs Pride LGBTQ plus monument project, which is under the aegis of Palm Springs Pride. Rhonda Hart came to me 2 years ago, even before he was running for city council, to ask me to take charge of this project. And what you see, you have both a hard copy, but you get the colors a little more vibrant. What you see here is the monument itself. And we are hoping to have it located in Francis Stevens Park in the southeast corner. It's an ideal location. We've done the site map for the historic preservation staff. We've done everything else that they've required, the distance from everything, and that's what it looks like. It's going to be 20 feet, the diameter is 20 feet and the height is 7.5 feet, at least at this point. If we go to the next slide, who's doing this? Oh, you are, Jay.
Yeah, I just put a few of the images in here, Al, so
Okay.
you'll see. just-
All right. We're using color spectrum, but then I need to go back to this, okay. What we're really doing is trying to recognize the LGBTQ community's contributions to the Coachella Valley. And this is what this is intended to do. The artist who is selected. I didn't know you were going to do that, skip it that way, so let me pull up my copy.
Yeah.
Get the intervening pages. We put out a national call, with 2 organizations. When we met as a board, we wrestled with questions about for a year and a half. And we made this one of the most open-ended calls that anyone has ever seen. Some artists said, we've never seen this before. So can you tell us what wall we can use? And I said, we have to build as part of your project because there is no wall. Well, where is it going to be located? I don't know where it's going to be located yet. The call went out in September. The deadline was December 30th. We had 45 artists from around the world submit 53 design proposals. And the one we selected was Jim Iserman, is the way he pronounces it, Isner. He turns out to be a member of the LGBT community and he's local. Neither was a requirement, I might add, but it just is the way that fell out. So the installation is really going to be a visible and lasting tribute to the LGBT community. It's going to serve as a beacon of hope, inspiration for future generations is what we're hoping for. It's going to be a powerful, we believe, educational tool, helping to raise awareness of our LGBT plus community's rich history and culture. And the installation will be a place where people can see it. And this is really important to us for the celebration of their identity and the culture. That's one reason we picked Francis Stevens Park in concert with what we've been discussing with your chairman here. The basis for the art monument itself is really, this was Iserman's idea. He started with the triangle, which was an enduring symbol of the LGBTQ pride reclaimed from the Nazis and brought into the mainstream prominence during the fight for HIV/AIDS treatment. So that's the foundation. And you have a page there that shows you how he has put that together and how it's gone through various iterations over the history. But it is the symbol for the LGBT community. The Jim himself, a longtime Palm Springs resident, has many years here in practice. His artwork is they're focused on post-war industrial design. You've seen some of his work on the architectural museum that he did. He has a strong mathematical base, often a simple module through the pattern itself. And in this case, it is the pattern of a triangle. So what you have up there is showing the color spectrum, which is the monument will be. We're using the color spectrum, in just the range of, to try to avoid controversy with various flags, various other types of things. So we're doing one color spectrum for the entire monument, with all of those. The installation starts with a poured concrete. I don't know if you have that up there or not, which,
The only one I have is this one.
oh, that's it. Well, okay. That's fine, we'll get there. So the installation starts with a poured concrete foundation in the shape of a lambda. That's the Greek letter lambda, is a symbol of gay significance. It stands for change and kinetic potential. It was one of the first coded symbols for gay liberation, and shortly after the Stonewall riots in 1969. And what it is, if you look on the page, it shows that foundation, and even up here, if you were to continue on that the left leg, that would be the lambda, and you can see it off to the side that we drew. We have this space in between, which is ADA compliant, so that people can walk around the monument and in through it. And that's why this space occurs there, which is very important.
Wait, just so I'm clear.
Yeah.
So there's, the foundation is also circular, and then
Yes.
on top of that, there's the lambda.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
got
exactly
it.
right.
Okay, sorry.
Exactly right. Other things that you have in the handout that you don't have on the screen, just simply show you how the steel rods are done this and how the modules are put together, how he developed the 5-sided block form whose 2 ends are perfectly equilateral triangles, which come together in that you see. I've given you the dimensions: 20 feet in diameter, 7.5 feet in height. The design considerations, concave diamond design will help prevent people from climbing the monument. That was a concern. Surfaces are coated with a fade-resistant urethane color and graffiti-resistant clear coat. And how will it hold up in the sun? Is one of the questions we asked, and there's a 3-part industrial urethane system that has a clear top coat with a 10-year color warranty, along with graffiti and UV-resistant top coat. So how many years before it fades? There is a reapplication that's going to be required after 8 to 10 years. So this is really substantive, it's substantial, and it's going to require very little maintenance and upkeep on that. I wanted to move real quickly from this to talk to you. I'm also in the process of consultation with about 13 organizations. I've already made presentations to the Community Leadership Council in January. I met with the Main Street earlier this week, or was that last week? I forgot to, was it Tuesday? I made a presentation there so that people could hear and understand what we were up to. I made a presentation a couple of weeks ago to Parks and Recreation, who supported it unanimously. They liked the design, they liked what we were planning to do. We didn't ask them for their approval, but they actually took action on that. So others, I have already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 commitments and times and dates to make presentations. For instance, to the Palm Springs Hospitality Association, Chamber of Commerce, Desert Business Association, 1PS, we're on that calendar. So we're doing broad consultation. And I want to mention too, that this is not set in concrete yet. We're taking, in the sense that we're taking advice from people who have a chance to see it. We would like your support to say, yes, please support this. But there you go, I was close to that. Indulge me for another 30 or 45 seconds. But it's not, it's a proof of concept, and there are going to be some design alterations as we move along. We've already made some. The Leadership Community Council, they came up with some suggestions. I was asked to meet independently with a couple of city council members. They made a suggestion. And so we incorporated that suggestion. So we're taking suggestions, and the artist is very accommodating. The cost for this is $500,000. That's my next challenge. I'm already in the process of trying to raise the money. I need at least $50,000 by August to pay the artist and all of his staff who have been working on this project since last January when we made the selection. So rather than delaying, I'll just turn it over to you, Gary, to see what questions there might be.
So the Arts Commission responsibility in this is to And just to clarify, this will be a donation to the city's
Yes,
public arts
that's
collection.
correct. Right.
This is privately funded
Yes,
and you're donating it to the city. We then make, our role is to assess it for its artistic value and importance to the community. We are not to assess whether, oh, we don't think it's worth 500,000 or anything to that point. It's not whether this is appropriate in a city park. That's the Parks and Recreation Department. They've already said, we like this. So we are to judge it on its art value. Are there any questions or
Is
comments?
there any text written on, I was.
It looked like it in the printout, yeah.
Yeah, there's text written there, right?
No,
no,
No?
no.
there's no text,
Okay.
but what we will have,
I was-
initially, we were gonna have names on it.
Okay,
And the recommendation came to us from a couple of city council members that you'd be better off not having names on the monument itself. To avoid controversy of whose name's on it, whose name's not on it, so we removed the names. But we will have the names within an internet, a website from Palm Springs Pride. So there will still be a selection by Palm Springs Pride. That's outside of my purview and our committee. But they will be selecting individuals' names. This actually had a capability of 1,500 names, believe it or not, that were gonna be etched in there. But there will be a website where people can look up. to
I like
see-
the idea of the names.
So
I
there-
think,
there will
I
be-
like the idea of the names. I think, at least people that are quite important in terms of history, in
Mhm.
terms of gay rights and everything. I think it would be like, nice to be there. And I don't think people complain that my name is not there or.
The intent is to have a QR code sign
Hmm,
nearby.
Yes.
And that will drive to the website. We are not responsible for the website. The Pride organization is responsible for that.
And there would be a plaque is what we're planning that explains what the monument is all about. I mean, just looking at it, there needs to be an explanation of what the design is, what it's intended to do. So we're prepared to do that so people can understand what it is and see how this comes together.
Tom, any comments, questions?
Is there, Jay, is there a height restriction here? That, and the reason why I'm asking is because, I mean, 7 feet sounds high, but I don't think it makes a big enough statement. I would go taller in my.
I was going to say the same thing, at least 10.
I don't know if we
There-
have restrictions. that
There,
we-
there are restrictions of going too high.
Right,
Oh,
And because this is in Francis Stevens Park, which is a historic site. And it's not just the building that's historic, it's the land itself.
Land itself.
So,
so there is a restriction.
there are restrictions of what you can do and. It's not so much about public art, but you can't hide what makes the historic significant. And it's the building, so you can't hide the building. From the street. So I believe that's why 7.5 feet was chosen,
Okay,
is to not hide the building.
but is that mandated?
To answer your first question, it's, height restriction. It sounds like not necessarily height restriction, but it's one of those, I want to say more subjective decisions that perhaps, and Al, you tell me if it's gonna go in front of a historic site committee.
It is.
It is, okay, or if it has already.
Well, I've been working with the site, with historic preservation,
Historic
the staff,
preservation, right, right.
but not the committee itself. So I'm
Okay.
not clear whether we have to go there or not.
Okay,
We need the approval of this group first
Yeah.
to go to the city
Right.
council on July the 2nd.
So this is being, historic site is through planning and planning is involved with.
Right,
this.
they're very much involved. And we've done everything that they've requested. They've really been very great to work with.
Yeah.
How many feet is it to the building from the structure? How many feet is it from the, I call it the pipes, what is it, the rainbow things or whatever. So, and then I'm scheduled to make the presentation to city council on July the 2nd. The city manager set that timeline.
So from an artistic perspective, does the design work for you?
I like the modules. I just don't think he has a sense of monumentality that I was expecting a little bit. I mean, my wall is 6 feet, my house, so I mean,
Yeah.
7.5 is not that much. And it could be longer at least. I think it's perhaps for 500,000, you expected something a little bit more. I don't know.
Well, that includes not only just the artistic part, but it also includes the installation, everything else. I mean, that's full package. There's not one hidden cost to get that constructed, and that includes the cement pad. We actually had it initially a little bit higher, and then the recommendation, as we saw the models in the studio of the artist, Ron was there, and others were there that were on the jury. Decided that it made more sense to lower in total to see what was intended. So there was
It
discussion.
made more sense in what ways.
Well, it didn't look right, and I honestly, I forget on what the original height was. It was not that much higher.
I
It was
think
like
we
a
should
foot.
judge it, what's presented to us.
Yeah.
If you think, we all know how these are, and when you add 2 feet, then all of a sudden your budget goes up a third because you need more, a stronger pole and a bigger pole, and so evaluate it, what's presented to us here.
I have a question. I want to make sure I'm understanding the assembly and the way the modules will look when they're stacked.
Mhm.
So it says here they're fastened to this rod and then epoxy together. So will it look like a stack of pieces, or will it be a solid wall?
Well, no, they're triangles, they're equilateral triangles, so no, it's not gonna be flat. But each one, all of
Or will
them,
it look like a solid wall?
well, okay, when you see how this one is constructed.
Yeah.
This one,
There will not be space between the
Right.
But
triangles.
they're not gonna be loose, right?
no,
Okay,
they're not,
okay.
no, they're not gonna be spaced. We're very concerned about people even trying to climb them, so.
Okay.
We've designed it in such a way, the artist has, that it'd be nearly impossible for anybody to climb it. We wanted to be very concerned about that, but yeah, no, it's very solid. Yeah. And it comes together just as you see here. It's all one part.
My comments and concerns, which we won't know for about a year after installation, is the corrugated effect. The in and out, I think it's gonna be a maintenance nightmare. It will, not so much for fading, but I think it will gather dust. Particularly if there's DG around it rather than cement. We've seen that with other sculptures that we have with crevices in them. You get the dust and
It's
then the
not
rain
going to
comes.
be DG. We discarded that for cement because of ADA compliance.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So just know that there may be a dust issue with that, but we won't know what our maintenance costs are gonna be for a year. And I think that from a visual perspective, this is the sort of thing that people will go up to. It's significant enough to get your attention. And I think people take pictures in front of it and document it. I do think that, and I will make a recommendation, Al, you put this notes in the explanation. You need to go in depth on the lambda significance. I think that, people haven't understood that for the past 3 generations.
Yeah, that's tied all to the
Yeah.
riots.
Just
Mhm.
go into the historic significance of every design choice here.
Okay. Great.
So our role here is to either pass or go. Accept or deny recommendation for council to see this. As I have told Al previously, generally, we don't make financial contributions to gifts to the city. The one that we did was for the A's Memorial because of their mismanagement of the budget process. Where they came and asked for the commission's approval, and then they came back a year and a half later, asked, oh, we forgot to budget installation. So that was sort of a after fact. So right now, I don't think we can commit anything financially. We're at the end of term, and we don't have much money left. But as I said, our role right now is to approve or deny moving forward on this. Any other comments?
This will be right in front of Chicken Ranch.
No, 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 no. This
Because
will
then,
be, do you know where Francis Stevens Park is?
Right across the street from the chicken ranch.
You know, no, no, not across.
Yeah,
the
close to
street.
the art center, right?
Yeah, but you know where Rainmaker is? The fountain,
Yes.
opposite corner.
Oh, the opposite corner. I thought it was
Yeah, so it'll be
side.
on Indian Canyon.
Okay, all right. all
That
right.
corner there.
And Alejo.
So it will balance Rainmaker.
Yeah, I was thinking I was going to be right next to,
No.
Palm Canyon, okay.
Okay.
It's on the opposite side.
Now, it may shift because historic site, as part of the historic assessment, they need to look at what was approved as when the park was originally made historic. So some of the trees may be part of that assessment. And the installation of this may affect the tree roots, so they may need to shift location.
And the intent, by the way, this would be lit at night as well.
Okay. Any other questions?
I like the location. That corner is kind of boring.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we move the proposal, the Pride Monument proposal to city council.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Al.
Almost. bring me
How many more
tears.
presentations you need to give?
What?
How many more presentations?
About 15.
And again, Al's going out to the community and these organizations to basically engage the community so they're aware of what's happening.
Yeah.
As we've learned from other major donated projects, it wasn't community outreach and he's learning from their mistakes.
Good.
Gary's been very.
Good job.
Keeping me on the right track. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Jay, asphalt art. Do we need,
Yes,
Speaker.
Mr. Chair, before we have any discussion on this, let me just go through images of the proposals. We have several proposals.
Yeah.
And this may give you a better sense of how you want to handle it, because I don't know if you'll be able to come to a decision tonight or want to organize to come to a decision later, so.
just, so if
And I'm recusing
he's
myself,
recusing himself,
so I'll step outside.
so we will have three, which is not quorum for the commission.
That's correct.
So then we can't vote.
You cannot vote.
Okay, good. So then we will not vote on this. We will put this off to our August meeting.
Okay.
And then, what we originally discussed with asphalt art was we would choose three. And then of those three, they would go to the community. And the community would choose from the three that we recommend.
Makes sense.
So we will move this to the August meeting.
Very good, very good.
Great. Next item is memorial update, which is why I'm sure a lot of you are here. The update is really twofold. One of the things I've been doing with Jay for the past, I've been pushing him for a couple months now. And we finally got some stuff on the past year. And the way our finance department works here is if the commission approves a project, they keep that money off to the side, finance does. The project may never even reach council. It may be, council may approve it and then something happens and it never happens. But finance still has that money locked up. And so I finally said to Jay, I said, find out all the money that they have locked up for us. And let's figure out stuff that is dead and free that money up. And so one of the things they had locked up was a mural we wanted to paint on the parking garage 2 years ago that we never did. So $55,000, all of a sudden we have. Ace Memorial is one of those pieces. Again, when we approve something, which is why I was clear on the Creature Alley, we approve specific artist and specific project. Not just giving them money, it has to be a very specific project. Because the Ace Memorial that we approved and the money that we approved is not happening, that money's gone. That money's been reclaimed by the Arts Commission. So they will have to come back to us when they represent their concept and ask for more money. I checked with the group behind the Ace Memorial and they hope to come back to us. They said, hopefully this fall. So I've not seen the design. I've not seen anything they've worked on, but they will coming back to us. They said, hopefully this fall. And then they hope to have installation in December 1st, 2025. So We know nothing more of what's happening, just the fact that that money's gone and they need to come back to us and ask for it. Okay. Any questions from the audience? Because I know that's why you're here. No? Great. Okay. Next is the Eco Art Walk Taming of the Horses. Again, one of the things that Jay and I have been working on is previous approval on things and getting work accomplished. And we've had some struggles with some of our installation. Because the stuff gets approved and then it kind of sits there, then we go, why isn't that happening? And then we find out it was approved wrong, and we had something with that with the Pop Art Park. So Jay and Flynn, Assistant City Manager, they're working now with our city staff to help them. They're going to help us do some installation on some of these projects. And one of the projects that they're going to be helping out doing installation with is the horses in the Eco Art Walk. We have approval from the floodplain control. And we have the thing, so they're just going to figure out where it's going to go. And that's really the update. So it didn't quite make sense to me that we kept these church and state with, we have installers on staff. Why don't we use them more? And when we move pieces of artwork, we're moving city property. Now when we get a new piece, the artist installs it. That's part of the agreement. But if we're moving it, city staff should help us out. Now we will pay them, we'll pay their supplies, and it's Jay's, that's what they're dealing with. But we have installers on staff, so we should take advantage of that. We have to plan and get them involved, and they have to make recommendations, but so that's what Jay's been focusing on.
Yeah, and there's some items where they will have to contract for
Yeah.
services such as, believe it or not, we don't. I'm not sure if we have a crane. There may be something the airport can provide that we can use to lift heavy items.
Yeah.
But the facility staff is actually looking into it. They're gonna get bids from potential contractors to help out with that, and we would go from there.
Yeah, so to me, this is a big win because we sort of struggled with this, and if we can get city staff on hand, that's sort of better. Okay,
I have, since we're talking about some money that needs to be used, okay, I just met this, he's an artist, he came from Seattle, but now he's living in Palm Springs. And one of the things that he does, his specialty is Christmas decorations, decorate the whole city. Like he did in Seattle, he has a website, has beautiful pictures of what he did in Seattle. And I was thinking of Christmas decorations, especially in Palm Canyon, that's pretty sorry.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if we can somehow use this guy or change it. This will be a way to bring more tourists. It would be a postcard. In what way? Our commission has some say on it, or?
well, that sort of gets into the discussion of what is public art. And there, in my mind, there's public art, capital P, capital A, public art, which means things that are specifically in the city's public art collection. And then there's art in public.
Wow.
The painted utility boxes, that's art, it's in public, but it's not really part of our collection. And so there are pieces that the city does, and they haul up the Christmas tree and all this sort of thing. That's really not in the Public Art Commission's jurisdiction right
Yeah,
now.
it could just be a decoration.
Yeah.
And which the business community had organized and wanted to see things go up. They worked with the city to do the stars. There's a lot of history behind those, so. I'd say more to be viewed more as a decoration.
So now, it doesn't mean that we can't do public art that's holiday related. It just needs to be thought of differently. Again, public art, anything that we fund. If we fund it, we are responsible for maintenance, and it needs to be available to the public 18 hours a day.
Yeah, but this is very object related. Art goes beyond that nowadays.
No, I understand, that's what I'm saying, that's
Ah.
art in public.
Okay,
Public art, according to our ordinances, are things that are available to the public 18 hours a day. And they are part of the art collection.
because even if those decorations are developed and are shown every year, this will be part of our collection, will be reused again, right?
In theory.
Yeah, those are objects that will be
Yeah.
reused.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that this is one thing that I think it's really bad in Palm Springs.
Yeah. You know, and again, you can get into, in the ordinances, it states that nothing that we do can be mass produced. We can't bring anything in the collection that there's multiples of it. It needs to be unique or a limited series. So, you know, we had a commissioner who wanted to do a cat in the hat sculpture. And it's like, no, that's licensed. We can't do that, you know. Doesn't mean that somebody else can't do it. We just can't use our funds for it. So everything needs to be a specific piece of art.
Anyway, I'll send you guys his
Yeah.
website and you can see it. Another thing, an update before, on the George Floyd mural. Thanks for Jay's patience. I mean, the dialogue is still going on to pretty much finalize everything, right, Jay? But it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and are we on the right agenda item? We can talk about
Well, you can
that.
do,
I'm sorry.
yeah, this can be a report from director staff.
Sure. Yeah, so, yeah, Carlos and I have been going back and forth with Mr. Alec. He's very cooperative, but he is, you know, clarifying a few things that, the mural, coating, protective coating is not included in the price. So that's something, I don't know if we'll have an opportunity to consider, at a future meeting or just do it later as a separate project. I think the, commission wanted that as part of, the repairs. And, so he's reviewing the, draft agreement right now, and so we'll hear back from him when he's completed that, but I think we're pretty close.
And to be fair with him, we never mentioned protective coating. He said he was going to do the painting and everything.
Yeah, he did at one point with the email.
He did?
Jay mentioned it to him.
Oh, he did?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, so it was in there. And then he had his additional fee for that, and then he came back and said, no, it's included, but I guess he reverted, which is fair. We just need to get it done. And as I said, the photographed, and then if it is graffiti beyond immediate repair, the boards will be removed.
Same thing with Logan. He's provided me with changes just today to insert into the agreement,
Okay.
so I can wrap that up and send it to him through DocuSign, and he would just need to coordinate with the airport staff getting badged and everything like that, so.
Victoria has that information.
And Victoria does have that information, she's expecting them. One more thing is, I am working with the city attorney to prepare a draft of an ordinance update. So in addition to expanding the number of commissioners, the commission had in the past raised concerns with a few different things, like all the items that have to go to city council for approval, can that be changed? Timing from the time a developer pays their fees to the time they actually request a reimbursement for artwork. So things like that. We're working on, and these are items that the commission had requested in the past. So we'll bring back a draft ordinance for you all to look at.
And then that's just the art ordinance, it's not the mural ordinance.
Not the mural
The
ordinance.
mural ordinance is its own beast that needs to
The
be done
mural
with.
ordinance is its own
Yeah.
beast. Thank you.
Nothing else?
Nothing else.
We're ending early. so-
No, I'm sorry, can I just have some clarification on, kind of backtracking on both a comment about the AIDS memorial?
Yeah.
And the Pride Monument. I get little queasy when I hear those two words, memorial and monument. And is there I just want to make sure that does the city have guidelines for using those terms? Because to me, that opens up a floodgate of approvals and, you know, who is going to tell me a monument is something that should be in the public viewing if I'm diabolically, what's the word I want?
Diametrically.
Diametrically opposed to it. So I get, you know, these projects are beautiful and needed, but I would feel better if we're referring to them as a pride sculpture versus a monument, because I think we're gonna get ourselves pigeonholed into a problem where someone doesn't relate to a monument. So, and I don't know how if that's to me, I think if I'm gonna put some structure in a town and we're gonna call it a memorial, that's where I think we've opened ourselves up to a huge discussion, because a lot of people didn't see it that way or wanted to have input on that. So,
So again, to me, this is through the approval process that we go through, and the approval process can be long and laborious.
no, I get that. I
And
just,
so, but that is the staff's responsibility. They put those restrictions and those qualifiers in the report.
but if the city is then going to be donated this memorial or this monument, it becomes part of our artwork collection, and therefore we are responsible for it. So then therefore we are responsible for everything that monument means to people. So I'm just saying that I would rather have those words eliminated from this process for the city's sake, on a legal term, where we can then refer to something as the Pride sculpture. And that is a piece of
How would
art,
you call
and
it,
therefore, what?
How would you call the Aids Memorial?
It would be an
Aids
AIDS sculpture,
sculpture?
or whatever. I
I'm
mean, I know,
sorry,
but
no.
I know, but that's what I'm just saying. I guess I'm really addressing it with the
Yeah.
city, and that if that's something that should be really considered going forward with all these projects.
But I think it's an important point, yeah.
Yeah, that's this process. You're bringing it up. The commission can vote to say it should be considered something different. It will go to council and council will consider that. And here that the question of should it be called a sculpture can come up also. And, you know, it's just the public process, and, you know, people diametrically opposed would you know, hopefully attend the meetings and
Mhm.
voice their
Right.
concerns, and that's the public process.
Right.
So that's what we're trying to get to. That's why murals are approved as a public hearing, is to letters are sent to people within a 500 foot radius to try and get more input from community members who will be you know, engaging with that mural probably more often. So things like that, it's a public process. And
Okay.
I'm sorry to say that so many times.
No, and you know, the thing I've learned in my all too long career is you can stress over what it's called internally,
Mhm.
and people are gonna call it what they wanna call
Right,
it.
right.
So they will still call it the Pride Memorial.
No,
Yeah, they will call it
right.
whatever they want,
right.
and really, you know,
Well, that's how it's being generated when
Yeah.
when he's going out privately
Yeah.
to raise funds.
Yeah.
You know, that's the. and
is it a
emotional
memorial? Am I-
appeal.
what, you know,
Right,
I would call this the Pride installation. To me, this is an installation rather than
Right.
a sculpture.
Right.
Because it is, you walk around it, and
Right.
it's sort of environmental. And it will just be, you will probably call it the Pride piece, the Pride installation, you know. Monument, that to me is sort of secondary, and the people who are diametrically
But it
opposed.
changed the entire context when you call it monument. It's something honor of pride. It's a
Yeah.
monument to pride.
Yeah, no, I agree, but at
Yeah.
the same time, not many people know the fountain is Francis Stevens is called Rainmaker. They just call it the
Mm.
fountain. You know,
Mm.
and yet the artist had a very specific name for that. And people who are diametrically opposed to it, they're gonna hate it if they hate it. Doesn't matter what
Yeah.
you call it. They're gonna hate the rainbow flag.
right.
Let's be clear. And there'll be people that hate that it has black and brown in there. You know, so as I said, our job is to say, is this acceptable in our
Right.
thing? The Pride installation, whatever we recommend calling it. I do think that calling it a monument at one point was when there were the names going to be attached, and the names are no longer attached, so maybe it is not a monument anymore. So we can put that in the staff notes that we recommend calling it a Pride installation or some other name, whatever we want. Just clarify the name and what is technically a monument. Look for a legal, if there's a legal.
Right,
recommendation.
right. And I think at this point, as the installation is still being shopped around and shown around, it, you know, by the time it gets to council, the name may have morphed into something different with more of these conversations happening.
Okay.
So as I said, things have a name of becoming mundane.
Right, right. I
You know,
just, I just, you know,
commonplace.
from the issue that came up in front of us with the AIDS memorial.
Yeah.
I understand why people were upset because it became something that represented a group, and then those people that it represented didn't happen.
Yeah.
An
So
opportunity.
it's, but. Look, I was one of those people, it's like, why the hell did planning approve that mid-century modern museum downtown? That was not even mid-century building,
Oh, right.
and just because they painted shingles pink didn't make it mid-century. So is there a legal definition of what can be considered a monument?
Or guidelines.
You know?
Yeah.
Particularly in a historic park.
Okay.
I would be fine with it being the Pride installation, because that's what I sort of in my head.
I'm
call
fine
it.
with monument. I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
that there's not anything that we're doing historically
Yeah.
that it's going to.
And as I said, the process can be a grind. And that grind sort of wears it down to its core,
Right.
and you'll find what people call it internally is what it ends up.
Yeah, again, yeah.
Last comment I want to make is we have new commissioners coming. I was involved in the interview process. We had 18 applicants. And we had the top number of applications tied with the Airport Commission. And the benefit, the good thing about that is, as I said, generally when you have a lot of applications, it's because people either say, I hate what they're doing and I can do better, or I love what they're doing and I want to be part of that action. And through the interview process, Mayor Bernstein asked everyone and they said, it's very exciting. We want to be involved with that. We think we can do some really interesting things. And we are getting 2 new commissioners. One to replace Barrett and one to replace Melissa. And then pending council approval, we will be getting an expansion to 2 more. And those 2 more will then be coming, so we will have 9. I've been very vocal with all the decision makers that we need people who can actually do the work. Because we are one commission that is our staff person right there. That's it. We don't have an entire parks department. We don't have an entire finance department. We don't have an entire airport staff. So we've got Jay. So, and Jay has other responsibilities as well. So they love what we're doing. Council loves what we're doing. We need to do it. And so Jay's got about 5 big projects waiting to get done, like some applications for a call for artists that he's going to get done quickly. I know he will. So
That's drafted and will be circulated
Yeah.
for other department input.
Yeah.
so.
So just note that there will be fresh blood at our next meeting.
Great.
Okay.
And I would also remind you all, the next meeting is actually a joint meeting with the city council, June 17th. It's the commission and all the council, it's all the commissions and the council meeting in the convention center.
And I'm presenting.
So we don't have, okay, so we don't have our.
No.
Small.
No, it's
Got
it's dinner.
Yep.
We sit around and eat dinner with each other, and Jay sits at our table. So he picks up the check.
Oh, good. So we'll be on the table, all of us,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
And then we go to another room, council's up on their dais, and then there's individual presentations from each of the commissions. Each presentation is 5 minutes. And it is your accomplishments, introducing the members of your commission, your accomplishments of the year, and what you have in the next upcoming year.
Great.
You can still come, because you're done and you're still on.
I
until
think I have a
January.
conflict,
Oh,
but I
conflict.
appreciate that.
Conflict, yeah, we have a conflict. Okay. Great. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, wait, do I have to call the meeting? Just, okay. I'd like to make them, sorry. Like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting, the Public Arts Commission, to our next meeting on August 1st, 2024, 5:30 PM in the large conference room at Palm Springs City Hall. Make a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Bye. Jay, did you want us to give,